Hello and welcome back to Space Engineers. My name is Rabenschild. Today we begin the whole end of the weight saga. I will call that right now. The last time I was really bummed out by not being able to figure out how this all works, and hopefully today I have an explanation and we can just leave it where it is, because I'm sick of it and I want to get back into my world and finish all of this. So here I have two ships, one in the big grid with big or large grid with large grid big thrusters, and here I have the same slung under a rig with a lot of small grid large thrusters. So I know people get frustrated by it right now, and I get that. I absolutely get that, but I want to have that done, finish it once and for all. Both these containers are filled with steel plates. So in whole it is a mass of roughly 28 million kilograms. So that's 28,000 tons, together roughly 56 million kilograms of mass. It's here the same, and I will completely neglect the number of the ship, because we will just do a bit of an experiment, or not an experiment. I already did that all, but I want to just explain that. I got a lot of people said, wait, maybe the calculations are wrong. The calculations are not wrong, but one of you, CV, said that they trick you with the inventory sizes. If you put in a bigger inventory size, like I have here, my inventory size is set to 10, then they do tricky stuff in the back that then leads to my calculations not being wrong, but being completely unnecessary. So what I found out is that these containers, and we will take a look at this, I've written it down. Sorry if that's completely wrong, but that's how I saw it. And we're doing a very, very simple thing here. This is not, there's more calculations you can do to, involve the circumference of the planet, and if the whole thing then kind of reduce it can reduce. We will do the simple thing of, can we at 1G hover this thing or lift it off? That's the only thing I want to know, and that's what I have here. So to calculate the newtons we need to lift one of these containers off, we have to find out how heavy it is, or how heavy is what we want to lift off in kilograms, and we need the G-force? I don't know. On the Earth-like planet with 1G, it's 9.8. 1, I think, something. We could roughly go with just 10. That's it seems that Space Engineers doesn't calculate with 9.8, but with 10 or something like that. But we see the numbers again here in the containers, and we will completely ignore the rest of the thing. We will just calculate how much force we need to lift this off, and we have that 2 times, so roughly 56 million kilograms. If we multiply that by 9.8, we come to this number, 548 million 800 something. We will go with roughly 550, 500. Again, if we calculate with 10, we can just say it's roughly 560 million newtons. So 560 meganewtons. That's what we need to lift off the mass that we have in here. So 560 meganewtons would be the force that we need to lift off the steel plates. These thrusters put out 40 meganewtons of force. So these are 6 thrusters. If my calculations are right, we come to 240 meganewtons of thrust. These things can put out under full load if you just speed up. So when the calculations are right, we shouldn't be able to lift off. Let us take a look if we are able to lift off. We are. So something is wrong with that. And you can see down there the number. It's the whole mass of this whole grid is 57 million kilograms, or roughly, don't know, 58 million kilograms. And we shouldn't be able to lift it off, because for this we would roughly need 580 million newtons of force to lift this off. And let me say it that way. If I, for example, drop this container, it hits like a bomb. So why are we able to lift it off? And I really have to say sorry to CV, because I said, I don't know, our calculations seem to be right, I don't know what's up there, and I didn't know that there is something happening in the background. We kind of figured that out. We have put multiple people on my Discord, and multiple people kind of got into it and tried to find out what's happening there. And we found out that space engineers, basically goes in and just divides the whole weight that you have here by 10. So this number is wrong. It tells you the correct number. So if you see we have 4, by the way, I would always say 4 point, because this is all in English, but we have 4 million liters, and I think steel plates are 20 kilograms per 3 liters. So we at one point reached this 28 million kilograms. And that's what it shows us. But in reality, the number is divided by 10. So that's why these thrusters are able to lift the whole thing. The number calculated that is needed to lift it is a lot lower. I was so bummed out by the whole thing, because that's something I didn't know, that's the case. And we did all our calculations, and we're completely surprised by the fact that that's the case. And this is, by the way, just for stuff in containers or in inventories. We figured out that also your personal inventory is something where it calculates things too. That's something Onyx came up with, that he found out. That's one of the coders we have, because the coders are the people that know how scripts are coded, could say, okay, there is different numbers you can get from the game, how it calculates stuff. So you can get the virtual mass, and then you can get the mass calculation for the lift stuff. Again, if you have a grid that weighs 28 million kilograms, then you would need the right amount of force. So that's why we had a bit of trouble while I was building my helicarrier. I ran into kind of the same issue, that I wanted to know how much force do I need to lift off the whole thing. And again, a grid is not divided by anything. It's just stuff that's in inventories that gets divided by 10, the weight of the whole thing. It seems it is the weight. So that's why these thrusters are able to lift the whole thing. And by the way, just to tell you or to show you, this one is able to lift it too. I for one saw that I used the wrong thrusters, but you can see how many thrusters I need for the whole thing. And at one point I just stopped calculating. I've just put on thrusters here. It might be able to lift the whole thing with a lot less thrusters, but it's still a lot of thrusters I would need for a small ship to be able to lift that thing. And I think I'm only able to lift it in creative because I have put on these crazy quantum black solar panels. Normally it would use more power to lift the whole thing up, and then at one point it still is not a viable option, but at least we know now how that works. Again, your weight inside of inventories seems to be divided by the inventory, the number you have your inventory set to, your inventory settings, the multiplier. That's the word I searched for. So we are done with this. Now we can calculate whatever we want to calculate. Everything's fine, and I'm good now. And now I can return into my world, and this thing is done. Because in my world, I have to say another sorry for something. That that I also did, kind of, because I messed up there a lot, and not a lot, but I messed something up, and people kind of tried to push me into a certain direction, and I was kind of not accepting what they said, and so we need to take a look at what I've done there too. Yeah, this weight thing finally is done. Again, the calculations, this is the easiest thing. It's not a thing. Again, if you want, there's a lot more calculations you can do. Please ignore all of that and just let me have this, because this is the easiest thing I can do there. I don't want to go with also bring in the circumference of the planet and then measure the drop off and see, because there's calculations that you can do to how much force do you need to lift something off the ground, and then I think go into space. Don't ask me. That's how much force do you need to lift this thing 1 meter from the ground, basically, I think. And yeah, space engineers tricked me there. I'm not too happy about this, because I broke my brain about this. Didn't know that that's the case. Again, people mentioned that, and then we kind of said, maybe that's the thing that's happening here. We tried out even things that didn't work with 1 times inventory, but then worked with 10 times inventory, because the same amount of weight suddenly got divided by, and then suddenly we had ships that couldn't lift something up in 1 times inventory, but then could lift it up in 10 times inventory, because again it divides the weight numbers there. Good people, I will go over into my world and then we will continue there. Sorry for this intro, but that was needed. I know most of you can't see that anymore, but I kind of have to go back to this and talk about this whole thing again, because I did some errors here too. People mentioned things like maybe the weight on the whole nacelles is a problem, but I kind of not brushed that off, but I said that's not the case, and I installed the rotor strength mod that 1WSX10 suggested, and I thought that would fix everything, and it does, but it needs me to set up the whole thing, so I need to go in and set the setting here, otherwise that doesn't work. So I did that now, and now the whole thing works. So I don't have to deal with the whole problem anymore. Now the whole ship works as intended. It doesn't thrust up anymore. It just works now. So people like Ogre or Zemiel, kind of, that suggested a lot of stuff, are not right about that, but I really have to say thanks for all the suggestions. And again, it was a bit my mess up that kind of made the whole problem a bit more prevalent. It seems the shape is not the problem, but the force the rotors are or have to bring in. 1WSX10 said it is phantom forces that I deal with here, and that is easily fixed by the rotor strength mod. The rotor strength mod needs to be set appropriately, then everything seems to work. So here we see now the whole thing flies as intended, and there's no speed limitations anymore on this, so that's a good thing. I now can fly, hopefully, don't know, all sorts of these things, and don't get into trouble with the thrusters not acting in the right way. So the problem again, that the thrusters kind of just push me down, is not the case anymore. That's a good thing. So now that this thing is fixed and the weight saga has ended, we now can concentrate on building more vector thrust vehicles and work in space, and I finally can lay the whole thing to rest, basically. That's a good thing. Oh man, people, that this whole stuff now is kind of over. It's just a relief for me. Now I can fly these things without too big of problems, and that's really, really nice. So on the planet, I am working at the moment on the building a bit more. This mod changed. I might have to take a look at the settings anymore. Now I run into the problem that I have problems with the laser antennas that don't want to connect anymore, and it's just, it doesn't stop with the space engineer. All is hopefully good now. So I wanted to take a look at the wind turbine. So this didn't change. It's still, wind clearance is still good. So I think that it doesn't give me the full current output is because it might not need as much anymore. I will now have to maybe put some more strain on the whole power system. But the main thing I have done over the last days is to just build on the structure. You can see that I have basically set where the walls will be, and I will put some structure on top of this, and then I am hopefully set for this building. And then we have to go in and build more stuff. So I might want to bring the machines that I have in the building there, in the landing pad, I might want to bring them to some other building. This needs revamping maybe, and we have to see. In space there's also a lot more to do. People want me to build a bit of a fighter, to maybe go some pirate hunting, just to get my frustration away and all that stuff. Oh, okay, that whole thing is kind of over now, and we can deal with the situation down here. So what we need to start today is maybe a bit of a craft to fly around and take a look if we can find some enemy signals on the planet, because again, I have the modular encounter spawner installed, and I hope that it also spawns in ground encounters. I hope that will be the case. Down here on the planet, I want to just go with atmo thrusters, so not with these crazy LY thrusters. They are not needed here, and for a ship that will not leave the atmosphere, I think we can go with a bit of a smaller reactor. Hopefully, these two thrusters already are strained enough by these thrusters, so I thought about maybe adding one or two more reactors in here. There's still space for it. I might use that. Good. Okay, we will plant down a landing gear. You can see that, and I might have told you the last time already. I have brought in another thruster mod. This one might just go away again because it doesn't really help me. But you can see that the wind turbines changed. There's a top and the wind turbine itself, and then the wind turbine pillar. I'm not sure what this is about, so that's one thing we might want to take a look later at. But first, I want to start another small ship to get around. So, usual landing gear, and then we go with it. What I yesterday realized in a stream, that's by the way up on the that's up on the channel, is that there's different settings, there's different HP strength for cockpits, because I kind of like the industrial cockpit right now, but when it comes to setting up fighters or setting up maybe vehicles, crafts that end up in maybe some encounters with enemies, it is always good to have a fighter cockpit with more parts to it. More parts equals more HP. So this one, as far as I see it, is the one that needs the most parts. So not different components, but the amount of components that is used in there is kind of the thing that we want to be on the lookout for. So this craft doesn't need a lot of things because, again, it is just an atmospheric craft. We will not put in an O2 generator. I want to put in a reactor, and then that, I think, is enough. So we need a big reactor because I want to go with hopefully big thrusters, and then we need the rotors. I will go with normal rotors here. That should be enough, and maybe a gyroscope or two. Some guns would be nice. Yesterday in the stream, I built a small fighter that was relatively successful in what it did. I was a bit unsuccessful with it because I shot things I shouldn't have shot. But again, that's something you definitely can see in the stream itself, relatively close to the end. Oh, it was awful. I did some awful things there, and people will be mad about that for a long time. So okay, that thing will point downwards. I will remove these things again to set that up, and I think we maybe put some landing gears on here. I have to see. I saw a lot of crafts when it comes to the vector thrust that were really nice, and maybe having something like that would be cool. So we will set up the main body and then go in and put up the rest of the thing. So I don't want to make the episode too long for today. because guess yesterday was a long day with streaming and yeah, testing out more around the whole thing. So I could also set up a battery with it. Now I will go with would be nice to have a battery on there. Should we go? No. We will go with the reactor. That is, in my opinion, always a bit nicer than to use batteries. Batteries, I think, good for groundcraft, so stuff that has wheels. But when it comes to setting up things for something that flies, it would be better to maybe work with a reactor. I still can bring in now with the whole cargo saga at an end. I definitely can bring in more cargo and deal with the whole uranium a lot better. Good. That's one thing I did yesterday. I want to use the pipes maybe also as something that kind of defines the look of the thing, but we will see how that works out. So I want to stick some guns in the front. So we will go with Gatling guns. I will have to bring in some ammo from space, but that will come later. I'm not sure if it would be good to have some turrets on here. That's something that we might want to have too. Good. Ah, the fire brigade making efforts to ruin my recordings again and again. I took a look at the recordings and you don't hear any of that usually, so all is good. A small cargo container just to be able to fill in stuff. I'm not sure. I might want to have a connector on here and set something up like a... How are the bird stands called? The perches? I'm not sure. So we could put a connector on the bottom here and maybe not have landing gears, or go with landing gears that bring the landing gears closer to the body of the whole thing. How big are the ones you fold out? They are 1 block high, so what I could do this and then put one of these in here. Okay, I need to bring that down, maybe have another block here so that I can place that thing. Turn it around, I think. No, okay, that's wrong. So turn it around again. Now that's right. That could look a bit nicer. Can I remove this or no? This will not fall off then. Good thing. Then we can do that on the side too. Maybe bring out the attachment points for the thrusters a bit more to the side and have some landing gears. Okay, we will put the landing gears somewhere back here. Have some stuff on the back again. And I'm not sure how to deal with the side thrust. Let me grab some uranium. And then we can at least feed that thing. Do I have enough? Yes. So just a bit of uranium that we can fill in here. That should work. Nice. And then go turn off the... want to turn off the auto lock on this thing. That's something I don't like. And now we go and bring the maybe a connector here on the bottom. I'm not sure if reactors on the if connectors on the bottom are good, but because I need to put something in the back of the whole thing, so the rotor for the side thrust and all that stuff needs to be here on the back somewhere. I need to maybe deal with something on the bottom. Can I put some blocks over the Gatling guns? Can. That's good. Again, I hope I don't run into trouble down here, but it might be better to just be prepared if there is trouble. So this will... oh, do I go with... oh, okay. Yes, I will do. Give me a sec. I will go with... don't need that right now. I will go with this. And then this will lead into a flat. And now I need there. And then we can go into... that might give it a nice form. A nice form factor. Yeah, it's so good that the whole trouble with weight and all that stuff is now basically done. I was so done with the whole thing that having figured this out now is just something like that bugs me. And if something bugs me like that, I tend to just get a bit obsessed with it. And that's sometimes not a really good feeling. Sometimes it makes me this makes me more angry than it should, and that's why I was so frustrated in the last episode where, yeah, I don't know, I didn't want to deal with all that stuff anymore, and it's just good that it is basically done now. I will bring in a battery just to have one, I think. The thing is that I don't need a lot of cargo space or something like that on here, so we can maybe fill up this middle part with a battery or so, just to use up the space in a good manner. That might be something that we want. So, although it is not. Okay. I want to make it a bit wider, bring the form out a bit to the sides, have maybe the thrusters somewhere around here, and then put in another tail. But we might have to widen the back tail there, because the thruster will be in between here. Okay, let me build that out, and then I will come back to you. I need to end the episode at one point anyways, and the intro part was just too long. So that will be the beginning of the whole thing here, and I will have to fill that in. This will be the tail. I'm not sure yet how far I have to bring that out, but I might want to do something with that. I have put in some more heavy armor blocks here, so the whole thing is safe. We should just test it if it does what it is supposed to do. So just let us try if we can lift off. I hope that's possible. Are any of the landing gears locked? The landing gears are locked, so I will unlock them. Ooh, okay, I need to maybe put some more weight on the back. But this already works. That's really, really nice. I like that. Are we smashing into the ground? No, we're not. So that works. I might have to adjust the settings, but this is already working for me, so good thing. Okay. Oh yes, I like that. That's cool. That's cool. That's how I want that to be. Again, it needs to be relatively fast, relatively agile, and then we hopefully can find some enemies, something to do, can pick up unknown signals down here. It's always good to have something to get around. People suggested, oh, I will have to turn maybe some of the gyros off. Can I, if I adjust the rotor strength, can I get maybe a bit of a smoother flight? I think that's the case, so we will just always put the rotor strength up. That helps. Good thing. Okay, people, but I will end the episode here. It's relatively late in the day, and usually I record a bit earlier, but again, today was a bit of a different thing. Okay, why is the front one still locking? Okay, this one still has the auto lock on. And that's something I don't want, so I can see if the thing maybe tips more to the back, so I have to maybe put some more weight on the front. We will have to see, but again, that kind of was a good day for me because I could clear the whole thing up. People, I would say thanks for watching. Hope you liked the episode. If you did, then please leave a like on the video. That helps me out a bunch. And yeah, I hope I see you in the next one. Take a look at the description. And yeah, there's Discord, Patreon, Twitter, all that stuff, all that good stuff. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya, guys.